Hi everybody, Ali Akbarian, your resident road safety expert from Mobility Engineering, back again for another Q&A. Thank you very much for sending in those questions, and please hit that subscribe button down there. We'd love your support to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We're almost there, so please do that and we'll get a cool new pillow or something like that, probably a new t-shirt as well, and we'll get to that next level. So today's question is a bit more of a sensitive question and a bit of a tricky one, and initially, I was a bit worried about actually presenting this because I thought it could be a bit touchy, but then at the same time, I really do have a passion for giving the best practice information for everybody and getting it out there so everyone can hear it. And I think that sometimes the more challenging discussions also need to be put on the table. So what we have is a 1-year-old child who has a terminal condition and basically has a lot of issues with transporting and staying stable, right? So the child is in palliative care, and I understand if it's a difficult video to continue watching, and if you don't want to keep watching it, we're not going to talk about any details, we're just going to talk about the best way to transport this child. The question is, can I transport the child on my lap? So the reason why the parents are asking that is because they haven't been transporting in a vehicle, but they've transported on a train. And they find that on the train, if the child sits on the lap, it's fine. But when the child sits in a pram or some other thing, then the child is unsettled. So they're thinking that the same thing is going to happen in the car, so what do we do? And can we have this as an option in the car? So basically, the long and short of it is, if you've got a disabled child, can you have the child sitting on your lap, right? First and foremost, what we will say is that at Mobility Engineering, and also the way that we work personally and what is the philosophy of our company, is to allow freedom of access and bring the community together, and strengthen together. So work together and bring us all together, right? So we think that there always needs to be a potential way for someone to be able to access the community, no matter what conditions they have, no matter how difficult it might be, right? In terms of traveling on a lap is the overwhelming last option that you have. It is the most dangerous option, not only for the child, but also for all other occupants inside and outside the vehicle. An unrestrained object on a lap can become a missile and a weapon and a flying object, and it will increase its weight significantly as well. So not only can that object get injured, but it can pose injuries to a lot of other people as well. So whilst, like I said, if it has to be the only way, it's fine. You can work with your Department of Transport to see if they will provide you with exemptions around the laws, because that's what you're gonna need. So in order to get to that point of, can I travel with the lap, you've got to write to the government and you've got to get permission from them, and you've got to have supporting documents from your OTs and therapists and doctors and all that kind of stuff to say, hey, these are the avenues we've looked at, this is the only avenue available. And so this is why I'm explaining that's the last option, because the government has to be involved and they will not submit to something like this that easily. They'll put so many roadblocks in front of you, so you've got to be prepared and you've got to understand that I've tried every single option, because sitting on the lap is not advisable, it's not something that is safe, and it's not something that is looked on positively by the government, so it's not going to be easy to get it over the line. So how do we get it over the line, and what have we got to do? Well, we've got to look at all options. So we've got to look at Australian standards products. We've got to look at international products. We've got to look at local products, transport products, medical transport products. I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, currently we're in May 2023, and Mobility Engineering has a client that we're working with a couple of other partners, and this client, the only way that they can transport is lying down. So what we're doing is we have got a bed from an ambulance going to be integrated into this person's vehicle, which is pretty strange and it's pretty wild, but it means that this person can still access the community in a creative way, you know, and there's no blockage to that. So the point is there's been lots of options explored to get to that point of being able to transport around very safely and securely in that ambulance stretcher, right? So and the same kind of process would go for this palliative child. You would have to have all bases covered, all things like lying down, sitting next to them, etc., etc. Basically, the very last option is sitting together on one seating position with someone on the lap. So everything else needs to be explored and trialed. And so what that means is that it could be a long and arduous process as well, right? So possible, but lots and lots of hurdles you need to go on. We definitely at Mobility Engineering think it's something that should be available to everybody. And even if you're stuck with it, which is in particular with this client, we will get involved and assist with that and try and help gain access to the community because it's in line with our vision. So yeah, hopefully that question wasn't too heavy, and thank you very much for sending that in. And like we say, hit that subscribe button, keep sending those questions in, and we'll see you next time.